Hello, my name is Tia and Elliott. Welcome to the Breast Monologues. Let me give you a little bit of background. I'm a breast cancer survivor, 18 years. This show that I created, the Breast Monologues, is to honor all of the women and even the men who have been diagnosed with breast cancer, who's been on that journey. It's also to honor all of the family, friends, and I also want to honor all of the family and friends, all who have prayed and supported us on this journey going through breast cancer. I can say firsthand that had it not been for my family, my particular family, my mother, my sisters, my daughters, my son, well, my son actually wasn't born yet, but my children, my aunts, my uncles, my nieces, my nephews, all of my family members that supported me through this process. This is for them as well. Had it not been for my family, I would have been met with a much different fate. There's a whole lot of love woven in my family, and I'm sure in a lot of families. We don't agree on everything, but one thing that's woven in our foundation is our deep love for each other. That love is what literally gave me strength to heal, to beat breast cancer. So back in 2014, I came up with this idea to do the breast monologues. And it really kind of came up because I wanted to do something different and kind of fun and kind of entertaining. So I came up with the breast monologues where all of my sisters and my close girlfriends, we all got together and I videotaped them telling their story about their breasts. And many of them, most of them, a lot of their experience with their breast and then breast cancer, which I was, the person that they knew who had breast cancer. So a lot of my, friends, a few of my friends went through that process with me. Doing the breast monologues, I really wanted to just bring awareness to breast cancer, breast health, women, men, and I wanted to do it, like I said, in a fun and, just a different kind of way to approach it. So I wanted to thank all of the people who participated. I especially want to thank my mother who had me, who had it not been for her talking to me, those, wee hours of the morning or late night when I would call her crying about what I was experiencing, and her giving me strength and her saying the words, "Girl, you come from strong stock." That's what my mother used to say, and those words kind of held me together, along with the strength of my sisters and my kids and my friends. So now I'm going to give you a first glimpse of what the breast monologues is going to be like. And as I was going through this first part, and I'm not even done with the script, so as I was going through the first set of scripts, it dawned on me that we have a lot of issues with self-image. And that self-image starts when we first begin to get our breasts. When we first begin to get these things, that's when our self-image begins to take shape. So the first set of monologues I'm going to read. The first one is in honor of one of my dear friends that I've known for over 20 years. She is really like my spiritual sister. We are definitely spiritually connected. We realized that many years ago. So we just kind of cherish that, nurture that, respect that, and love that. So this is in honor of her and all of the people who can relate to her. So it's going to start off with, I'm going to have a box right here, and it's going to be full of bras, and there's going to be probably my little grandbaby or some little kid, or I don't know, maybe my daughter or somebody. They're going to be sifting through the bras, looking for a bra. You know, a little, that's going to be like a little replay of a little girl just going through the bras and just trying to find one. So here we go. I found one. I found a bra. Oh, let me put it on. It feels so good. You see, I grew up with all these boys. My mom was immersed in all boy energy. When I started to get my breast buds, I was like maybe 10 or 11 years old. I grew pretty fast. It was spring in South Dakota. It was cold jacket weather, cold in April. You know? Then May and June came. I was still wearing my jacket because my boobs were bouncing around like crazy. Bouncing. I did not feel comfortable. My mom didn't really notice, or she didn't notice enough to say anything or do anything. After I found the box of clothes with all the bras in it, I put it on and I went to school. My boobs felt really, really good. I did it again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. I guess my mom noticed something because she came up and she poked me in my breast. She said, poked me in my breast. My mom said, what are you wearing? I told her I found a box of bras. That kind of clued her in that I decided that I needed a bra. We never had a conversation. She took me off to that one little shop that fitted me for a bra. The lady in the dress shop commented, she said, my goodness, she's big for her age. She was right. My boobs kept growing and growing and growing, bigger and bigger and bigger. So big that they became a real prominent part of my physical self. That comment was the beginning of a whole lifetime of shame and breast awareness. I was aware of my breasts now. I didn't know why she would say that. It really took me by surprise. It made me feel a way that I couldn't really identify with. Like, is there something wrong with that? It carried something negative for me. And my mom was so unable to immobilize advice when it came to my body. It was the same thing when I started my period. I remember her just handing me a box of Kotex. There was no exchange of any kind about anything about the female body or the female energy. Like, what does it mean when you bleed? I can practically remember that woman's face. It was so intensely body aware without any support. Just no emotional support at all. This has been a topic for me my whole life, and not a good one. Okay, so this next piece is from a really dear friend of mine. I've known her for many, many years, and I am excited and appreciate the fact that she shared her story with me. Getting my first bra was kind of scary, but I was so excited at the same time. You see, I started developing kind of early. I think in the 3rd grade. It was odd, I think. And I know now that most women have one breast bigger than the other one. So me being 8 years old, I'm like, is something wrong with me? And as time went on, I found out that it was normal. But I remember the experience of first getting my bra at Montgomery Awards. I was excited. And I had a real good friend who lived right across the street from me. And I ran across and I said, I got my bra today. Boy, that experience, it affected my confidence in so many different ways. When I went to tell my friend, that was one thing. But there was a whole other thing with these silly ass boys in elementary school. That was a completely other thing. They would laugh and pop my bra. It was embarrassing. So then I started to wear a jacket so they couldn't see the bra strap. With my friends, it was a confidence booster. But with the boys, it left me insecure. My mother took me to get my first bra. My friends got training bras as their first one. I wanted a training bra too. But my mama said no. I was the first one that got the real bra. You know, with the snap in the back. Wow. Yeah, so when I, your host, went to get her first bra, I'm the youngest of 4. So I'm completely shy about everything. Everything, I mean, if a little bug ran across the floor, I'm too shy to even scream. So my mother took me to get my first bra at Montgomery Awards too. I remember being, oh my gosh, so embarrassed because I wasn't ready to grow up. Because being the youngest, everybody was like, oh, Tia's the baby of the family, she's the baby, oh now the baby's growing up. And then I even had a cousin say, ooh, look at your breasts, are you sure you're getting breasts now? I was embarrassed by that. I'm like, don't point it out, I know what's going on, don't point it out. I didn't like it. I remember in the 4th grade that I had this jean jacket. I wore that jean jacket all year round because it covered up my breasts. I wore them all year round. I even took school pictures in that jean jacket because I didn't want my breast buds to come out. And then they were sore. And then people would come up and say, oh, you're getting breasts. Can you not do that? Because they were sore. Your breast buds, you know, they were sore. I didn't want nobody touching them, and I sure didn't want nobody to say, oh, you're getting breasts. So that's my first experience getting my bra. Getting awards with my mom, and I don't even remember if my sisters were with me. I don't think there were. If there was any of them with me, I think it was Teddy. I think Teddy was with me. That was probably it. But that was an experience. Okay, so the next set is called Bloomer. So this kind of deals with, you know, are you an early bloomer? You know, are you a late bloomer, and how all of that affects us as we're growing up. When I was 13, I was a very shy kid. So having big breasts made me even more shy. Because now I was getting this really weird attention. I never really looked my age. I always looked older. So I always had older men talking to me, like my dad's age. So I started wearing baggy clothes. I never wore anything form-fitting because I was trying to avoid all of the attention. That only lasted for about a year and a half until I was about 15. Then I started working out and I dropped a bunch of weight. I went the opposite. I lost everything eventually. I carry a lot of it in my breath, so that's where it goes. So my self-esteem was really low at that time. I went through a period of time when I wore push-up bras to create that show, to get more attention. But now I have to wear a push-up bra. But now if I have to wear a push-up bra, I'll be like, no. Oh, no. Oh, heck no. No push-up bra. It's either a sports bra or no bra. Oh yes. I can go without a bra. I'm an average perfect size C. Not too big, not too small. For my body size, that's pretty good. I was a late bloomer. I didn't start developing until I was 16 years old and had a baby. I got my first bra when I was 12. And the only reason why I got one is because my younger sister needed one. She was an early bloomer. Mommy couldn't buy her one without buying me one first because I was the oldest. I was one of the first girls in junior high school to have one. When we went to the gym class, they said, "Oh, where did you get that bra from?" Well, my mother got it for me. They didn't have a bra. They were still wearing t-shirts. I started getting breasts about 12, 11, actually probably about 10, because I started my cycle around 9. It made me feel weird because I had these huge things. My peers were not early bloomers, but there were a few of us, but not many of us, so I kind of stood out. I felt different standing out because the boys at that time started to look at me different because I had breasts and my friends didn't. I was very self-conscious that I tried to keep them covered until I was about 12 or 13 years old. It's about 7th, 8th grade. The boys made comments, they popped my bra, looked at me saying, "You got some big chi-chis." There were a couple of us that hung out during that time together. They had big boobs. It was an experience. It wasn't a pleasant one. I didn't like all that attention. I really didn't. It was annoying. Even now, it's a little annoying. I was always, literally, the biggest pair of boobs around. Nobody could compare to me. A lot of girls were jealous. That was a style back then. The era of boobs. A lot of women in that era had a lot of fullness in their breasts, so they would say, "Oh, I'm so flat, but look at you." It was competitive in that way. Okay, so that's scene 2. bloomers. So this is scene 3, which is, I first entitled it I Like Me, but now I think I'm going to switch it to be called School Days, DAZE. Okay. I was very confident. I was busty. I like to show them even a little cleavage. Back then, breasts were in style. It wasn't back here. It was up here. So I was popular in that area. I didn't really think about my breasts until somebody slapped me in my breast. So somebody slapped me in there. In junior high, he slapped me like, bam! I said, oh my God, why did you do that? I was just getting to school. I'm sure I had a bra on. I remember I had on this knit, stretchy top. I said, why did you do that? And he slapped me again. It really pissed me off. And I was like, why the hell would he do that? I was not a comfortable kid. So socially, I was really, really shy. It made me have something that was a magnet to guys, and I wasn't emotionally prepared at all for what it created for me. It created this high energy thing between me and males that I didn't have any skill to handle. I had a lot of stupid ass things happen to me. I remember going to ice skating. I remember going ice skating, and I remember exactly the shirt I was wearing. We were walking along to get back on the ice, and this guy walked past me. And I guess he just wanted to see if my boobs were real, because he walked by and he poked me in my boobs, trying to cop a feel. Those kinds of things happen to me all the time. People were just so focused on my boobs. If I would go anywhere, I would get cat calls all the time. I remember telling myself that I am not going to do that. Curve my back. I'm going to stand tall and straight. I didn't want to show shame in my body language, so I consciously decided that I was going to produce my posture, whether my boobs stuck out or not. And that's just how it was going to be. So it gave me a little rebellious sense. Like I'm not going to cave like I see other girls do. Well, that is a glimpse of the breast monologues. I'm finding that even just during that first part that we women, from a very early age, we started having these issues with our breasts, with our image, the image of ourselves. And it started with, it seems to have started around the time we're getting our breasts and we're having our periods and we're starting to develop. Because, when you start to have, when you go through puberty, that's when your body starts to get into a little shape. And so that's when people comment. The silly ass young boys comment, but we take it in. Like we don't comment on them because that's not how it works, but we take it in. And we develop this self-image of ourselves. And that sometimes it's not, and it just depends on our individual self. Sometimes it's not healthy, and sometimes it just follows us through our whole life and puts us on a track and a journey our whole life of our self-image. And so we self-sabotage and we don't take as good a care of ourselves as we should. I remember being young myself, when I was younger, and my self-image, like I said earlier, I was very shy. And I would have, boys pop my bra and stuff like that. And I hated that. I was so embarrassed. I think, and this is no shade to any of the mothers, and definitely not my mother, because my mother is a gem and a one-of-a-kind woman. But, and there's no rule book on how to raise girls and how to raise, even boys, for that matter. So we just kind of have to go for what we know and try to encourage and uplift and enlighten and inspire our girls. But the truth is that I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about my body. I didn't know anything about the breasts I was getting. I didn't know anything about menstruation. I didn't know any of that stuff because it wasn't explained to me. Nothing was explained to me, so I didn't know. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was going to experience. I didn't know why. And I think that, especially back in the 60s and 70s and stuff like that, that era, people were just trying to, especially my mother. My mom, was going through so much at that time with her father getting killed when I was 2 and her just trying to keep her girls together and keep a roof over our head. She wasn't thinking about trying to explain to me why I got breast buds. Which, is totally, I get it. But it doesn't erase the fact that because I didn't know anything, no one explained anything to me, it created a certain self-image that I began to develop or create for myself. But, when my daughters were younger, that was one of the things that I wanted to be different about. I like my mom in a lot of ways, but I really talked to them about everything, probably more than what they wanted to hear from me. They used to say, "Mom, it's going to be a lecture." I'm like, damn it, yes, it's going to be a lecture. If I got a lecture just to get whatever I need you to know, then shit, you better pretend like you're listening. So, yes. So I explained, all of those little details about the changes in the body and, and when you start to get your period, and this is what you do, and as a young girl, we have to teach our girls how to hygienically take care of themselves. So that was one of the things that I made sure that I taught my girls, and even my son, that's more of his dad, but to be honest, I have to make sure my son knows certain things, and I'm not sure what his dad is telling him and not telling him. So I tell him what I think he should know as far as that goes. And I know, I'm a mother trying to teach a man how to be a man, and I know I can't do that, but I could teach him some basic hygienic things. So that's what I do. So, but we have this self-image about ourselves starting from a very young age, and it just follows us through our whole lives, and it just creates, it creates a way that we communicate with other people. And sometimes, we have to go through a healing. I know for myself, especially, me having breast cancer. Let me just talk about breast cancer for a minute, because most of you know that I was diagnosed when I was 31 years old. That's 18 years ago, so now you know how old I am. So anyways, I don't care. I'm proud to be almost 50. Thank you very much. Anyways, I was 31 years old, and going through that process is a godsend in a lot of ways. A godsend in a lot of ways because it forced me to really look at who I am as a person, look at who God created me, look at, how I perceived things that I was, ways I was, how I was raised and how I perceived that. And it really forced me to really peel back some layers of my life and just figure out, who I am, why I am, what I'm here for. So, in everything that revolves around breast cancer, so I'll just start from the beginning. I was diagnosed when I was 31 years old. I was engaged to be married, and so I found a lump in my breast. The end of '97, I found a lump in my breast, and I thank God for Dr. Allen, because not only did they get me right in, like within a couple of days. I think I found it like on an early Sunday morning. They got me in like on a Tuesday, and not only did they get me in, but they ran all of the tests, the mammogram, the ultrasound, the biopsy. They didn't hesitate on anything. They didn't hesitate, they didn't question me, they didn't say, oh no, Tia, you're too young to have breast cancer. They didn't say any of that. They just got me in for those tests, and I got those tests done. And the minute they found out it was something, they got me to the right surgeon, they got me to the right doctors, and so there's where my journey began with breast cancer. So, it came back positive. Well, let me back up, because I was diagnosed at the end of '97, and let me back up again. I found a lump at the end of '97. I went and got all the tests done, but I didn't get the results until I came back, because I was getting married January 10th. So I didn't get my results, and I didn't even go in to get my biopsy till the end of January. And so I didn't get my results from my mammogram and all of that until after I came back from getting married, after my honeymoon. So I came back and I found out it was something. I went and got the ultrasound, found out it was something else, or it was, more of something. Went to the surgeon, got a biopsy done. He told me it was breast cancer. And I just was like, huh? What? He said, yes, you have breast cancer. I was like, what? And I tell you, like when you see in the movies and everything is foggy and things kind of go hazy like that. That was me that day. And everything was a blur. Everything was a blur. So I said, oh my God, let me call my husband. I called Sean on the phone, and I said, he says I have breast cancer. And I don't even hardly remember. I believe we hung up the phone. He said, I'll be right there. And the doctor's office I was at, I was downtown, midtown. Sean worked in Rancho Cordova. It probably took him maybe 10 minutes to get there. He was flying, and so we came in, you can see the hurt in his eyes, and I remember that, the hurt in his eyes, and his eyes was watering. I think that's the only time that I've seen him cry. And we're not married now, but that's the only time I've ever seen him cry or even be close to tears, And so we just kind of banded together, and we went home, and I called all my sisters to come over and my in-laws to come over. And so they all met at my mom's house because I needed to tell everybody, because I needed strength for my family. So I told everybody, we hugged, we cried, my mom was like, you come from this strong stock. You see, there she is again. You come from this strong stock. And So you're going to be okay. You know, it's so funny because 18 years now, I don't think my mom has gotten over the fact that I was diagnosed with breast cancer. She's thankful that I'm well and I haven't had any recurrences, but I do. It still boggles her mind that I would get diagnosed with breast cancer. Okay, I'm just going to turn because I want to see what time it is. Oh, 10 more minutes. So then I had to have surgery, and so I got a mastectomy on this side, and so I had to do chemotherapy, radiation therapy, then I had to do chemotherapy again, and the reason why I had to do chemotherapy again is because the tumor was large. It had, from the time I found it in December to the time I got a biopsy in January, it had grown. It grew, and it was sore, and it was almost like protruding out of my breast a little bit. You can see it, and you can feel it, and it was painful. So of course, chemotherapy took my hair out, and you know, that was probably even the most devastating thing that I could have gone through. That was actually more devastating than my breath being removed. You know, and you know, I don't want it to sound vain or anything, but you know, people say, you know, it's just your hair, but your hair is part of what makes you you. My hair has always been part of what made me me. I've always had a style, I've always had, you know, my hair has always been something that was part of what made me who I am. So taking part in that, you know, and then it totally changed, you know, my look, it changed how I felt, and it was devastating too. I remember like trying not to wash my hair. I cannot imagine. I tried not to wash my hair because I knew that if I washed my hair, it would come out in my hands. See, I'm starting to tear up. It's funny that after 18 years and being in this room right here by myself, it's still, the experience still makes me tear up. But I try not to wash my hair because I didn't want to aggravate my scalp to make my hair come out. It didn't matter. And then I tried to wheel my hair. You know, you say, when you're talking to God and you're like, okay, God, I don't want my hair, I don't want my, you don't want this or that to happen. And then you try to will it not to happen. I tried to will my hair not to fall out. You know, looking back, I'm like, it don't work like that. But anyways, that's what I did at the time. I tried to wheel my hair not to fall out. And then my hair got to be so bad that I had to wash it. So I washed it, and exactly what I knew was going to happen. The hair just came out of my hands, and I just freaked out. I freaked out. And I was so upset. I was so upset. So upset. But I came to realize that it's my journey. All of this is my journey. So after my hair just kind of, you know, had patches and stuff, Sean just eventually just shaved my head off. Oh, and let me back up. So, no, I don't need to back up. So Sean shaved my hair and stuff off, and so I kept it in a bag, and I think it's probably still, I think the bag of hair is in storage somewhere. Why did I keep my hair from the time? I don't know. Anyways, I kept my hair in the bag because I guess I just needed to be reminded of the experience. So the hair is in storage somewhere. So my hair came out, I shaved it off, I was wearing hats, I was wearing scarves, and then and some other dear friends of mine, Leslie and Dr. Southern, I went to visit them right after getting diagnosed because they flew me out to Nebraska, and so to get a second opinion on the breast cancer. And so while I was there, Leslie bought me a wig that got a cut in the style that I wore at the time, which is not different from the style that I have right now. So she got a wig cut for me, so I was able to wear a wig, and it was so hot and so itchy. Nothing like how they make it now. Like now, it's kind of, I got a little knit thing where it's easy to fit and maneuver around. But when I had the wig that I had back then, it was more rough. Anyways, and one time I wore the wig and a hat, and I took Sean's skiing for his birthday, and I fell in the snow. I fell and I kind of rolled, and so did my wig and my hair. You know what that fool did? Well, he's not really a fool, but you know what he did? He laughed at me. He laughed at me, and I tell you, I felt like shit. Self-image. I felt like shit. I didn't feel like shit because I fell. I felt like shit because he laughed at me. He helped me up and everything. I don't even know if he helped me up. I think he was down with thinking I got it and stuff, but he cracked up at me, and I felt like shit because of that. I'll never forget that. And I probably held some hostility and grudge for him laughing at me because I felt like shit. I had no business being on the snow. I had just finished 4 things of chemo. I should not have been on the snow. But I was trying to keep as much of my life intact as possible. And I was trying to still do as much as I could possibly do in my life. Looking back, I had no business on that snow. I should have let him ski, and I should have been resting. I just finished 4 things of chemo. And I was wiped out. I was weak. I was sore. I had no energy. I was tired. I just had no business on the snow. Yeah, he laughed at me, and looking back, it was kind of funny because, this chick going down the slope, don't know what the hell she doing, and she bites, and then not only does she roll, but her wig and her hair and her scarf comes off too. That's just funny now. But anyways, so I just hungered for the restoration of my life at that time. Really hungered for that. So I did the chemo, and I did chemo, and so in '99 I went back to school. Because when I first got diagnosed, in the beginning of February I got diagnosed. And end of January, beginning of February I got diagnosed, and I was in school, but I couldn't emotionally handle it. So and then I had so many tests and things coming up, and so I took that semester off. And so I took that semester off and started doing things. And so when I started radiation therapy, that was in the summer, so I went back to school for summer school. And then I got accepted to Sac State, you know, that following September. And so I went to Sac State and I ended up graduating with a bachelor's in communications media. So this concludes my 45 minutes.